Welcome back. Time to bring in our panel right now. Great to have you all with us today. Indy's Laura Wilson and 2016 Vice Chair for the Indiana Trump campaign, Tony Samuel, back with us in studio this week. Great to see you both, along with former Communications Director for the Indiana Democrats, Jennifer Wagner-Chartier, and former GOP lawmaker, Mike Murphy. Jennifer, I'll start with you and your reaction to the injunction that was issued Thursday, which puts the state's abortion ban on hold, at least for now.
So it's good news for women. Let's just start there. I think there's a couple interesting things about this injunction in particular. It was issued by a Republican judge. So there's no chance that Republicans can say, oh, it's just a Democrat, just doing activist judge things. And I think the other important thing is it really does focus in on the issue of privacy and the Indiana Constitution. And it's going to put Republicans in a very difficult space to say, oh, we want privacy here, here, and here, but not so much for ladies and babies. It'll be really interesting to watch.
Mike, does this have the potential now to be kind of a back and forth legal battle? How long might all this last?
Round one, maybe round two of hundreds of rounds. It'll go on until, Laura, you'll be retired before this thing gets settled. I'm not kidding you. It's just going to go on forever. And the fact is that it depends on what you believe. And you may believe something different than I do, and neither one of us is going to change our beliefs no matter what the courts say.
Well, Laura, you heard our interviews there with the candidates in the 9th Congressional District. We asked Erin Houchin if she supports federal restrictions. She said it should be left up to the states, while her opponent said he'd like to codify Roe into law. This next Congress could, in theory, have a big impact on this issue, though in reality it looks like we'll probably still have a pretty closely divided balance of power in Congress after the midterms that may not be able to enact legislation either way.
And that's the balance between theory and practice, right? But they could address this, and this could go through Congress. This could become a law. I don't know that that's necessarily what we're going to see, though, in part because you see some really close Senate races in addition to the House. And even right now, to get legislation passed on issues, there's a lot more ability to compromise. We don't see that necessarily happening. I think the hardest thing with this particular issue is if you believe it's a moral issue and you believe something is a life or it's not, or it belongs to a person's life or anything else, that's really hard to compromise on because you're compromising on the question of who's responsible, whose life it is. And that's what makes it so much more difficult than any of the other policies that go through Congress.
A lot of Republicans in those general elections have kind of shied away from that Lindsey Graham proposal on the campaign trail. Tony, we also asked Houchin about her meeting with former President Trump. She also met this past week with former Vice President Mike Pence, who held an event with Houchin and 2nd District candidate Rudy Yoakum at a fundraiser. With everything swirling around the former president right now, are candidates more eager right now to appear alongside Donald Trump or Mike Pence?
I think it depends what state you're in. In Indiana, where there's not really a heavily contested congressional race except in the 1st District, you might have candidates kind of holding back a little bit. But in states where Donald Trump is working it very hard on behalf of America First candidates, then they're gravitating to him, and they know that those Trump supporters are still out there. They're maybe a little bit more silent right now, but they're out there, they're energized. And one thing I should mention, every time something happens to Donald Trump, whether it's the raid at Mar-a-Lago or this latest thing in New York.
In New York this past week.
Exactly, or the impeachments, his poll numbers go up. Folks are still energized, and you'll see that on Election Day, although candidates might be standing back in certain states.
We'll see how things shake out. By the way, we asked Houchin's opponent, you heard there about President Biden, whether he wants Biden to run again in 24. He wouldn't exactly say on that answer. Meantime, speaking of Mike Pence, he'll also be appearing with Diego Morales at a fundraiser next month, the Republican candidate for Secretary of State, facing some scrutiny, giving an interview this past week to Importantville's Adam Wren about his military service. Adam asked if Morales or the National Guard cut short his commitment, but Morales would only refer those questions to the Army or to the National Guard. Mike, are these latest questions Morales is facing just going to create more controversy for him in this race?
I would just look at the camera and say, Diego, answer the darn question. That's all I got to say. Answer the question. And I don't know why he can't answer a question. Why did you leave early? I mean, he's a veteran. I believe he's a veteran. I don't doubt that. But answer the question. It's that simple.
All 3 candidates in this race have a military background. Jennifer, your view on this latest controversy?
Yeah, and I think it's one in a long line of controversies, and that's the point that we need to be focusing on is, he should answer the question, Mike. You're absolutely right. But he should answer a lot of questions, like, How'd you get fired twice from the office that you're seeking? Talk about your military record. Talk about all these other things that are out there swirling. He's not a good candidate, and I think at the end of the day, the issue is not so much his military service as whether or not he is trustworthy to have the job he's seeking.
We're also talking about the race for governor in 2024. Looking ahead here a couple of years. And Tony, this week, Abdul Hakim Shabazz from IndyPolitics.org reporting that Senator Mike Braun is indeed likely to run for governor. What do you make of his chances?
I think there's a good likelihood that Senator Braun will jump into the race. He is more of the executive type, being a business owner or CEO. Not so much, I mean, he was a legislator too in the Indiana State House for a little while, but he sees himself as more as that executive branch leader. So I think he will. Of course, the big question is, you guys have talked about here recently, is will Mitch Daniels jump in? And what does that mean then?
It could be a crowded, really crowded primary, right? No doubt it's going to be an interesting election cycle in 2024. This race in particular, we'll see if Mitch Daniels runs. We'll see if Mike Braun runs. It could also leave, if Braun does run for governor, a pretty wide open Senate race too. And now Adam Wren this past week reporting in Importantville that Victoria Spartz might run for Senate if Braun runs for governor. This is going to be wild.
It's political musical chairs, but that happens when you have a vacancy. And I think also we have a tendency to recycle politicians, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. If someone has a good track record and if voters like them, if they appeal, right, they're going to want to seek higher office, and that's exactly what we see happening here.
Mike, where do you see some of these prominent Republicans landing on the ballot
Well, first
over
of
the next couple of years?
I feel quite sorry for our Lieutenant Governor, Suzanne Crouch, who has a lot of money. She's got the name ID, she's got the gravitas, but she's not taking hold for some reason, which I will say the Republican Party has a history of telling women you can be in a ministerial office, but guess what? You can't be at the top of the heap. They did the same thing to Sue Ann Gilroy. They did the same thing to Becky Skillman. They did the same thing to the previous Lieutenant Governor.
Ellspermann?
Sue
Right,
Ellspermann.
Sue Ellspermann.
And it looks like they're getting ready to do the same thing to Suzanne Crouch. So the fact that people want Mitch to run, or maybe Mike Braun, who's a serious candidate, shows the dissatisfaction, at least the lack of enthusiasm, I will say, about the current potential field out there, Eric Doden and others as well.
Yeah, it could be a really big field. Who do Democrats run in some of these races? Pete Buttigieg has moved to Michigan officially. Joe Donnelly is now out in the Vatican, though in theory he could come back if he were to run again. Who are Democrats going to run?
I've heard Joe Donnelly's name. I think you've got a mayor here that has to make a decision in Indianapolis about whether he wants to run locally or statewide. Yeah. But I couldn't agree more with you, Mike. If we are a Republican state, it sure would be nice to see a little bit more, the future is female at the top of the ticket.
We'll see how all of that shakes out for sure. All right, our thanks to the panel. They'll be back here in just a few minutes for this week's winners and losers. Coming up next, Indiana lawmakers holding a hearing on whether the state should consider legalizing marijuana. We'll hear what they had to say coming up after the break.